Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to day 4 of the live stream where we're going to be building the LEGO Marvel Daily Bugle tower set. So, over the past 3 days, we have built the ground floor, this upper floor, and a little bit of the second or third floor right here. So, today we'll continue from here and just go all the way to the top as far as we can go in a reasonable amount of time. As usual, I'll be starting up the music. I already have bags 10 ready to go. Here's a look at the minifigures in case you need a reminder. So let's just play the music after all the ads done. It's kind of annoying, to be honest. But that shouldn't take too long overall. And if you're new to the channel, please make sure to like and share the stream. It really helps out the channel. All right. In the meantime, comment down below which one of these minifigures is your favorite. A lot of good options here. Still another ad, surprisingly enough. Finally. Alright, so in order for me to continue the build, I will have to put this away back in storage just because there's just not enough space here to lay out all the parts with this whole thing being in the background. So I will just put this away and be right back. I'll just keep the top part, obviously. So this is much more manageable compared to this massive tower that does not even fit in frame. I will bring this when the whole build is done, and obviously we're going to assemble the whole thing, but for now I'll put it away again, and hopefully I don't drop it. So I'll be back in like 30 seconds or so. And when you're carrying these heavy things, be sure to use both hands and lift them carefully. Don't do any sudden movements. Don't try to be clever. Just be super, super careful, and do not lift. It's going to lead to disaster. Lift from the very bottom and just gently move it. Of course, if you can use a milled plate, that's even better. I just have a bunch of cables and stuff lying around, and now it's actually getting a bit heavy. When it was just the ground floor, it was not this heavy. So yeah, I'll be taking this away temporarily. And now I'm back. And with this, we can continue with bags 10. You have more space now. I like to think that this is the incarnation of Fuji Dove, at least unofficially. Hopefully we'll get an official version of him next year. Hopefully. For those of you who don't know, Fujidog is a Ninjago character. He's not related to this team, he's still related to LEGO. Oh, and I did not mention this before, but I got a duplicate of this hairpiece for Aunt May. It's not an official extra piece, but it's nice to get an extra just in case. You can always give it to one of the other minifigures if you want. But I'll never complain about having extra hair pieces like this. So basically in bag 10, we're going to be building the office of Peter Parker, as well as like the thing right next to it, which looks to be like an empty room or just like a copy room. And speaking of Peter Parker, here he is. That's his civilian garb. Of course, he does have an alter ego, and spoiler alert, Peter Parker is Spider-Man. You should know this if you are a true Marvel fan for any reasonable amount of time. Where is his head? Here's his camera, so we have everything except his head. His head is the same color as his hands, so it should stand out very well against the black backdrop that I have right now. So I don't understand why I do not see it. Very strange. Oh, there it is. Carnage had his head, which is pretty funny. There we go. And he does have a backpack accessory, or satchel rather. So here's what the prints look like before it gets covered up. The white here is a little bit pinkish to me, according to my eyes. And just to have a comparison, here's a white piece. You see here, well, you see the red and white of this print is not the same as the red and white here. To give another example, look at this white of the piece versus the white of the torso. Not the same. This is a problem for LEGO Star Wars characters, and now this guy as well. Yeah, he has a friendly, nice expression, as well as a worried or concerned expression. Yeah, there is Peter Parker. All right, now onto the build. Where should we start? It doesn't look like we have too many stickers in the set, or in this bag specifically. We do have one here for Spider-Man. A little bit on the nose for Peter Parker to have Spider-Man, his alter ego, like explicitly on a tile. And yeah, I'm guessing it's to maybe throw off suspicion, like sometimes something is so obvious that it can't be true. In the traditional media, Peter Parker is never officially exposed as being Spider-Man. It's always a mystery that only the viewers are aware of. Although in more recent media adaptations, they finally gave it up and they're like, okay, yeah, Peter Parker is Spider-Man. It's official now. Spider-Verse and movies like that. So once again, it looks like we'll be building more of these windows. So yeah, like the boring part is just putting these together. But once we put them together, it gives us more space. And I wanted to do this before starting the live stream today, but I just did not have the time. You know how it is, work, groceries, miscellaneous chores. Now I'm right here doing this. And if you think this is boring, wait till you see the Avengers Tower, which I do hope to build someday. That one is even worse because you have everything is a window pane like this. You have to insert the panes for every single one. And there's like hundreds and hundreds of these. So like these ones are better in comparison. Yeah, we'll have to do these as well. Just a few of them, thankfully, in this set. There are a few of the columns that have just 4 instead of 5. And we're done with these. Next is the snot pieces. We're going to have at least 2 of these columns, plus 1 that alternates. These ones go for like, yeah, length 6. I think I'm missing one, or there could be like some slight variation in one of the pieces or one of the builds, but at least we took all those pieces away, which gives us the space to move things around a bit. Yeah, I don't mind having these window panes when it's just a few of them, but when it's a lot, then it can get kind of repetitive and annoying. There's no door here. This is just used for structural purposes. And with that, we can move these pieces. Oh yeah, there it is. All right, so there's no minor variation for these, at least. None visible. Oops. Yeah, the door is only held by these 4 studs, so can get removed pretty easily, as you just saw. All right, let's do some of the interior builds before doing the exterior, just because that's usually an easier thing to do. Otherwise, it's difficult to put stuff in when you have like the frames already done. So we're gonna need to make a desk and a copy machine. The copy machine is gonna use white a lot. Oh, so they actually built the interior of it as well, from what I notice. So this is pretty genius. You know how in a real copyright machine, like when you open it, you're gonna see like a glass pane? Well, they replicated that here. I was not expecting that. It's a nice little Easter egg for people who build the set. Have some snot or bracket piece right here. Not super clear what it is, but we'll figure that out. there's got to be some bracket of some sort. That's the most likely explanation. Or actually, I might have this on the wrong side, so this might actually go here, in which case we have, oh yeah, the headlight bricks. Yeah, that makes more sense. This whole thing attaches here. It's pretty smart how it all comes together. And this here for the controls. I wish they used the printed piece for this one. I don't know if that piece existed in 2021. Yeah, so that's the copy machine. Like you lift it and you look inside, there's like the glass pane. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Like I could not ask for better. Yeah, this is really nice. And it just goes right here. And of course, you can move it around if you want. But by default, it goes here. You just open it and use it. That's pretty cool. While I'm here, before I forget, because I've forgotten these a few times, I'll put the tiles here right now. This also removes them from the pile, which makes it easier to find the remaining pieces as we need them. And we still have a bunch because those are going to go at the top, basically next to these guys. We're going to have some cardboard boxes. Now these drawers, they obviously would fit in here. And they're actually stacked on top of each other like this. Looks like this camera is also stored here by default. We have, for whatever reason, a pizza box at the top of this as well. Perhaps it's a reference to one of the specific scenes within the movies. I don't remember a pizza box specifically on top of a cabinet, but it's there. So later, after building a wall, I think it's going to be easiest to put this there. We have this build. It's ready to go. Next, we have to build the desk, which is an interesting construction. Like if I just showed this to you, you would not think that this is a desk, right? But hold on. After a while, that this is indeed a desk. So basically, we fill the desk right here. So let's do that now. Basically, these go in the four corners. In theory, this should fit perfectly right here. And it does. Wow, look at that. No gaps. It's very interesting the way this came together. Although, like, this should actually be over here, so there's actually plates before this. So it's not, this is not the final form. I have to put like one or two plates before we get to that. It's gonna be basically the leftover colors that we're gonna put here because they're not gonna be visible. So we'll just hold on to this for later. We know how to do this. We just need to figure out which colors are not being used elsewhere. We have this for the chair as per usual. And we have a few pieces we need to reserve for the desk. I think this is one of them. And this telephone receiver piece. Here it's actually being used as a telephone. And this. The other pieces we'll figure out when the time is right. I do know, I'm fairly confident that this piece goes like this. And this is supposed to represent post-its on a small little board, like a bulletin board. Very old school way of doing things. For whatever reason, there's like this sand green wall that basically is gonna hide the Peter Parker office. So this is gonna reduce the amount of light coming into this space. But of course, if you don't want this wall, or if you wanna just make it a half wall, you are free to do that. And this is a fairly easy modification to do, so I won't complain too much about this. And this was at the time when sand green was really, really popular at LEGO. This might have been like peak sand green era. We got the boutique hotel with the sand green. We got the Defender all in sand green. The golden age of sand green. That's what they called it. I suppose they could have put a bit more detail here. It's pretty bland for a wall, but perhaps it is accurate to the source material. All right, so now we gotta, well, at this point we've done most of the furniture. So I think we can start building the walls, although I'll still reserve the exterior walls for the end. I think we can start doing the interior walls though. Oops. This actually goes here. This goes here and links this wall with this. And we have a door frame here. And this is a very quick way to build up bulk and structure. And it's also useful for the minifigures to go between the two parts of this floor. I like this touch of added realism because in real offices you often have these kind of windows that are at the top like that. Reminds me of a particular location I used to work at. And then we're going to need to build more things before we can finish this, but it's okay. We can add this though. Actually, I believe we might be able to add one more. No. 1 by 8. Yeah, that we can add. This we can add now. And this is pretty much the limit. But you see here, like, it's like a half wall versus a full wall right here. And again, here's a minifigure for the sake of scale. So minifigure, half wall, and full wall. And you could technically make a small structure for minifigures that is about this high versus this much higher structure that's more realistic. But again, LEGO only does this for like their top of the line sets because they have top of the line prices. And when this set came out, many people thought it was very expensive, and even today, like it's not like an impulse purchase kind of set unless you have massive amounts of money lying around. But it is a set that I think will be remembered very fondly after it is retired. As I said yesterday, I don't think LEGO is going to offer a set like this with this amount of minifigures, this amount of pieces in 2026 as a new set. Whatever is going to replace this is going to be more like the X Mansion and less like this. Interestingly enough, I actually paid less money for this compared to the X-Men Mansion because I got this on sale. So at this point, I think we can safely say that for the desk, these two colors, or these two pieces are going to go in right here. We're not using these colors anywhere else, or as far as I'm aware. And then over here, let's see. What are we not using for sure? I do know we're going to use the grays all over the place. That leaves us with this tan piece and these two white pieces. Although if I had to guess, it would be the two white pieces and not the gray piece. Not tan piece, because this one's probably used somewhere. Like, it wouldn't make sense for LEGO to do this. So I'm pretty sure that this is the solution. And we will see very soon whether I am vindicated or not. So let's plug this in. It looks so much better. It's just one plate, but it makes all the difference. Now this thing looks serious, or it will very soon, as soon as we attach the pieces on it. So here we're going to have this tile. Then here we're going to have like we will have two tiles on the sides, here and here. Actually, no, here we have this piece, which leaves us with this here. And this is a nice little thing to figure out. I'm sorry about the focus there. It's a little bit difficult to get it to focus on one area, and there's lots of things to capture. Yeah, there we go. That's a pretty old school desk with just a phone and no computer. I'm guessing that they're mixing eras of Spider-Man, because just downstairs you have like modern computers, transparent monitors, and things like that. And here it's very old school, just a traditional telephone, as they used to call them back in those days. And this goes right over here. And then we have a bunch of the cardboard boxes here. You have to move them around to let the minifigures just slide by, or just remove them entirely if you don't want them to be here. So at this point, I believe we can start working on the exterior. These are going to come off so often, and I'll just leave them off until the end. I just took this off temporarily to help me position this. But, oh yeah, like, this cannot be removed easily. I thought it could be, but in reality, it's not really designed to be removed. So it would have been nice if you could just take off the whole thing, admire it, show it to someone, and put it back. Have you had to use instructions yet? Hello, Brick Reporter. No, not for this set, nor for any set on this channel. Hope you have a great evening. Yeah, thank you, and same to you, or whatever it is in your time zone. Yeah, so I'm looking at the building phases and the 3D view for this set, just to be able to see it from all angles, but not the specific instruction steps. And this set does have some challenges. I'm not going to say it's super easy, but it's a lot easier than the LEGO Star Wars. I'm blanking on the name right now. But this set is a lot easier than the LEGO Star Wars Jango Fett Starship. Unofficial name, the Slave 1. So this is just bricks on top of bricks on top of plates. There's a little bit of studs on the side construction, like to have this or this, but it's not too complicated. There's no crazy angles or technic mechanisms or anything like that. So that's a good thing at least. Actually, I made a small mistake. Here, this should not be here. Like this whole thing, I'll remove it and swap it with another one, just because here we're gonna have like the one with 4. So I'll just put this here. And so here we need to pay a little bit of attention because we need to attach this piece there. And it's basically to have the anti-stud, this one right here. It's kind of hard to see on a transparent piece, but I'm guessing that this is used later on, so it's important to just have that available. So basically, I'll just show you with the non-transparent piece. We want to be able to attach pieces like this into this headlight brick from its back. I'm going to attach this here. And then have this on top of it. So we're still maintaining the transparent color, but it is a bit more involved. So it looks kind of like it's broken or something weird is going on. But this is the best that LEGO could do given the available parts. They can't just make a new mold anytime they want to come up with something like that. And just for stability, I'm going to add the brick that goes here now. Is it this one? No. That one's going to be used elsewhere. So it's very easy to mix up the 1x8s and 1x10s. Just pay close attention to use the correct one each time. Yeah, that's a lot more stable. You know, while this is fresh in my mind, I'll do the other side. And then the others are just standard. Same story here. least they're not going to be like swaying like the wind all the time. And here having the wall actually helps a little bit when applying pressure, because the wall is going to make sure that the piece does not slip. All right. Looking good so far. We know that these are going to get tied up later, so we just have to be patient for that. And for these ones, try to align them before just pressing down. Like that. There we go. And just have this is going to be attached better in the next building phase. You see that something is not attached properly because I have this gap here. That's very strange. A very, very small gap. Even here. What's going on? Is it an angle thing? Is it? I don't know what's going on with these, honestly. I've never seen this before. But this small gap will be hidden in the end, so I'm not extremely worried. It's just mildly concerning that we have these gaps. I think overall it's going to be okay because it's within the fault tolerances of the LEGO system. Each piece has like some variability to it, so we'll probably be okay. And these pieces add additional stability for like this wall, bringing everything together. I realize now that I did not use this piece in this building phase. It's probably used somewhere in the interior of the desk, and then those tiles, they're probably used somewhere. Yeah, those white tiles, they probably are used to represent newspapers or something. Well, let me confirm that. I do not see any official indication, so yeah, we'll just leave it at that. We can extract those pieces later if we really, really need them. And this is probably a useful piece to have in future building phases. So yeah, we'll just stack the cartons here. And basically, this is it for bag time. I'll just make my small announcement of what bag time is all about, just for my own sake when I do the recap video, and then we'll move on to the next building phase. Bag 10 gives us the Peter Parker minifigure, as well as continuing to build the sides and a bit of the back of the third floor. Plus we have this really nice copy machine, which I appreciate. And we have this desk and a bunch of other small little details. So next up we have 3 bags 11. Just hold on to this. So this is bag 11. This is bag 11. And this is also bag 11. Thankfully, LEGO does not do this anymore. Otherwise, I would have made a meme like, I'm Squidward, you're Squidward, everyone's Squidward. That's what it feels like, having all these bags with the same number. And again, there's an ad, as always. Come on. But thankfully, there's not that many pieces in each bag. I think it's going to be easy. And before I do anything else, before opening these, I'll just take all of these, because these are large pieces, and set them to the side. And the rest is basically we're sorting everything already, just by default. We have these in two very separate piles. Oh, there's a scary spider here. It's perfect for Halloween. And spiderweb as well. Looks like we're getting the green goblin in this set. Oh, that's a nice flame piece. I think this might have come out like in some LEGO City sets and this set, and that's it, because I don't see this in new sets. But look, it has like a transition from transparent red to transparent yellow. That's nice. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that LEGO continues to produce this piece for a long time because it's epic. Like, imagine this like in vehicles or dragons, all sorts of things. Again, same thing with these pieces. This is in the now discontinued transparent brown color. And I do like transparent brown. I think it was a mistake to retire this color. Transparent black is cool, but it's not as transparent. It's very hard to see through the new trans black color that LEGO has given us. So that's why I think that trans brown should have been kept as a color. Here's a look at the printing of Green Goblin. No side printing, unfortunately. I wish more of these characters had side printing for such an expensive set. At this point, we should be grateful that they gave us this amount of minifigures at all, compared to the X Mansion from last year. So this guy has two expressions, an angry expression right here, and a happy but evil one right here. So like evil laugh. And of course he does get his characteristic dual molded hat with the ears. So it's between bright green and dark purple. Very good color combination for this character. Yeah, just look how evil he is. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, he's gonna be right next to Peter Parker right here. They're just gonna pretend to be friends at this point. And now I'm gonna do something that's different from the instructions and different from basically what we're supposed to do in this bag. So if you look at the box, and I'll bring the box on camera, you will see that, I'm holding the box, but basically we're supposed to build this, which is basically a destroyed version of that window. There's no way I'm building that for two reasons. Number one, it's going to be very complicated to build this without the instructions, with all the angles and stuff. That's going to require lots of work. And even with the 3D view, that's going to be very complicated to deal with. The second reason is I just prefer the cleaner look. I do know that there's enough pieces here to just build it as a regular tower, which is more in line of what I'm personally interested in. So that's the way I will build it. Of course, feel free to disagree. Feel free to build it the way you like if you buy the set for yourself. But I just prefer the simpler, cleaner look personally. So that's what I'll be doing. And I'll be using the previous thing that I built as a reference. So I already did this build or something similar to it in the previous building phase. I'll just copy paste from that. And in fact, since I have it not too far, I'll just go and get it. So here it is right here. And the reason why I'm doing it this way is because I don't have time to play a memory game and try to recreate this from scratch again. I've already did that yesterday or the day before. Just because I have like a ton of other sets, a ton of other things I want to do. So let's just copy paste this. There's going to be some minor variations, of course, to account for the lack of these pieces here, but the general idea is still going to be there, I'm pretty sure. So that's pretty much what I'll do for this building phase. And then there's going to be some parts remaining for Green Goblin's flyer. We'll do that last, or if we can figure out how to do it, then we'll do it. But that's a very small build, so I'm not too worried about that. And of course, to do anything, we're going to need to put all these together. Sometimes they get stuck. I don't know why. All right, we're halfway done with these already. only one more of these left. And really, once these and the snot pieces come together, that's like a lot of the surface of the build already done. And these are easier to attach because you can hold them from pretty much anywhere. You don't have to worry about fingerprints because it's all going to get covered up. Just make sure to align them properly though. So we're going to need 3 regular ones and 2 alternating ones. Okay, so now we have to do the alternating ones where we'll follow the same pattern as the one here where this is pointing out, this is pointing this way, and so on. Same thing on this side, but just flipped 90 degrees. If I can find the rest of those pieces. Oh, we have one of these. Oh well, we'll hold on to it. It might be an extra just to make the whole like explosion scene possible. We will hold on to it. I seem to be missing 4 of the snot pieces, which is a lot to be missing. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, I guess. And that's a lot to be missing. But we'll figure something out. So we're just going to be copycatting this one right here. I don't know if the instructions give you the option to build it without the whole destruction caused by the green goblin. And I'm not going to look at the instructions to find out until after the build is complete, if at all. I think they do. I think they give you the option. I'm just not sure about that. Of more corner pieces. I'll put any like 1 by brick here to figure out what should we do. Because we're going to need to somehow replicate this general structure. And the thing is, 2 of these are not equivalent to 1 of this. And what I mean by that is, if you do this and this is not aligned to the grid. So you can't just put these directly on top of each other. It's not going to work. So there has to be a bit more thinking involved. So we need a total volume of stuff to, the height of these bricks needs to be the height of 4 of these. So the height of 4 of these is how many regular bricks? Well, we'll just use these to find out. So 5 of these bricks is 3 of these. I need 4. So for 4, I'm going to need 1 more brick and 2 plates. 1 brick, 2 plates. And then with that, we have something that is, in theory, equal in length. But does that mean that we can combine these pieces together in a way where it would still work? That's a pretty good question. I think the answer is yes, but we need to think about it more. We definitely need to get the order right. Because the problem with these pieces is that they have like this gap here. With the piece, you have like the stud that's very close to the bottom, but here this is like half plate offset. So that half plate offset is going to cause a lot of trouble. We do have these 2 at least. Let me see if I have any from the extra bag. I have an extra one of these corner bricks. I don't know if that's going to be enough. And the thing is, because of the windows, we cannot really expand this way. Maybe you can expand this way towards the interior if there's empty space. That's an interesting challenge to have. So the window panes, we definitely have enough of those. No issue there. We have one more of these. So really we're going to need lots of 1x1s. Like 1x1 plates, I mean. We're going to need tons of these. Right now we only see one, maybe two. We could use this maybe. Actually, this is going to be used for the lamp. So that's not a good idea. Yeah, I don't know how we're going to do this. I'll figure something out, I'm sure. I just wish they included like 4 more of these. That would have made life so much easier for me. And just to take a look at this from the top, yeah, it's really like 1 brick thick, or not 1 brick, but like 1 stud thick across from like this to this, the main part of it. I'm starting to think maybe we could steal these pieces because they're going to be hidden by this sticker. You're not going to really see if we steal pieces from down there. That's one possibility, is that we steal the pieces from here to use here. There are no extra parts or parts in the unnumbered bag that can save us here. But I know, like, someone that I trust said that it can be done, it can be built using, like, in a clean way. So I know that it can be done. We just need to figure out how. I can rescue one more of these 1x1s from the extra pieces. Maybe 2. Yeah, I knew we would need this piece. Good thing we have a second one. Okay, so maybe there is hope after all. Oh, I even have a third one. And then I can also use the transparent ones as well. Especially either towards the bottom or the top, wherever it's least noticeable. So use white as well. Since some of the colors we're using are slightly off anyway. So with these, we have a better chance of success. So now I'm not as pessimistic as I was. So essentially the challenge that we want to have an equivalent of this construction right here, but using one less piece. So we need to take this away and we need to replace it with an equivalent piece. So this, so far this is in system, but we need two plates underneath it. So then we're going to attach it on top of this, just so that the whole thing makes sense. So just to distribute the colors of these, I'll just make the corner ones are not going to be visible at all. The corner is like, I'm willing to sacrifice those. We have some corner bricks as well that we could use in here as well. So yeah, for the ones here, I'll try to use 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And really, like, this is the only one that's extra. This one's used for the build. So yeah, we'll do, let's say, this. And we put this here. It's not too bad, and it should be all in system. Let's test it. Yes, fits perfectly. So we'll just do the same with the others, and that will solve our problem, basically. And these pieces that we save, we're going to attach them here. So with this one, we remove this, and yeah, add this. Yeah, you get the idea by now. There's some mild color inconsistencies, but at least the thing works. Actually, I'll swap this one here. So this last one is going to have the least color inconsistency because it's going to have 2 light bluish gray plates. And basically with this I deplete my stock of them, but we're getting close to the top of the building, and I hope that if we get higher, we'll get even more of these. And in the corners, we could use whatever colors basically, because it's going to be at the corner, so literally not visible from anywhere. So one of the corners is perfect, by the way. We just plug it in like so. And with this corner, we're missing one. Again, the same pattern applies. We'll just pick some random colors that we have because it's going to be hidden anyway, just like what we did for the ground floor. And if it makes you feel better, you can imagine that these are like hidden pockets of energy or something like that. So we'll use red and yellow. Why not? I'm just grabbing the pieces from this extra parts bag, and that's why I keep it. So then, same story. So in theory, this should measure up to exactly the same height, which it does, of course. So yeah, that's not too bad. And now we just plug in the windows that we already pre-constructed. So they're already done. There we go. So yes, it is indeed possible. I don't know if the instructions tell you. I don't know if the instructions tell you to do it differently, because I don't think it's a fluke that I'm just missing 4 of the snot pieces. Very likely the instructions tell you to do it differently, if they tell you at all. This ad has been going on for an eternity. And the next one is long too. Oh, whoa, did I get... I need to make sure that... Okay, yeah, the surface is the way it should be. Just making sure, because now I'm basically from the perspective of looking inside out towards the outside. It's good to double check these things periodically. Once this is done, I'll try to make an attempt at Goblin's flyer, which is it's just a few pieces, so we should be able to make something for him. I'm looking for a piece that may or may not exist, so I'll just start applying these now to the sides to shrink the pile of things I need to worry about. But these also apply to the rest of the building, not just this facade. Oh, I guess from the glass you can see a little bit of the interior construction. Oh, I didn't think about that. So you cannot really see it from the outside, meaning this side here, but from here it's visible. I'll try to see if I have any better colors to use. Not really. I don't have anything much better, so we'll just have to pretend that this is some kind of building detail. Yeah, we'll just go with this. It's not a big deal. And I'm just building this set, only this set with the parts included without the instructions. Once I'm done and this becomes part of my personal collection, I can swap out this for a much better piece. But I don't modify sets for my personal collection unless I have a very good reason to do that. For example, the Tudor corner had like one of its sides didn't look so good, so that one I did modify, and I planned it even before the set came out. I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna change this. Okay, so that goes there, and these ones get applied here. We'll come back later to do the lamp right here. It's going to be similar to what we did in the first floor, or ground floor rather. Last one. This one's a bit tricky. Oh, there it is. All right, so do we have a 1x10 plate? I don't see it, but I have a 1x6 and a 1x4. So we'll just assume that these two will fill the gap, and we'll just move on. So I believe it is at this level that we add panel pieces such that they align perfectly, and yes, that is the case. Actually, I might have a better solution. For these, I have to build the lamp first. Or, yeah, because I might be able to use some of the extra transparent pieces. It's going to be less annoying than the yellow and red here. So just going from memory here, because I'm too lazy to go get the rest of the set, but I'm pretty sure it goes something like this. I should be able to remember something I built a couple days ago. And there's actually, there's only one of these here. The other one attaches on the other side, if I recall correctly. And we have two plates like this, just use two brick separators. The second one is sold separately, of course. Oh, that's strange. A piece stuck to a brick separator. That does not usually happen. Okay, let's try this again. This. Actually, we don't use any of those transparent pieces here, so it looks like we are safe to use them. I don't care if they're used on the flyer. I'm just not gonna include them on the flyer because that's just a small little side build. Yeah, this can be attached directly at the rear, and then we'll fix this right away. This goes here. Yeah, that's a good look right there. Okay, so we'll just remove these. And I'll have to take out a bunch of parts to get to it, or we can cheat just by twisting a little bit. Yeah. And we'll come back to fix that. Basically, these parts will go back to the extra parts pile. Put these two instead. They're not the perfect color, but at least they're transparent, so they'll blend in with pretty much anything. And we'll just rip this off and start putting stuff on top. And finally, reattaching these. So now from the exterior, this looks way less bad, way less disturbing than these two colors at the very least. It doesn't remind me of a certain fast food company. Okay, so that's not that bad. This white is the most prominent, but even this is not too bad given what we're working with here. And I'm sure like if I have this on display, no one's gonna notice. Unless they've specifically watched this live stream, no one's gonna notice. Yeah, there we have it. Like a simple flat surface. This is reusable if you want to use this for pretty much any office building, even outside of this theme. It's perfectly fine. And yeah, this just attaches to the front of this part right here. So basically this is what the whole thing is going to look like. There's going to be like studs and stuff to attach this, just like what we had with the previous level, but this is what it looks like overall. So yeah, that's not a bad look right there. And we're not completely done because we need to tile this off. We need to add some tiles here. So let's do that. I think we need to add like 2 levels of plates here. But of course we can improvise. The essential things that the contact points are maintained, and you want to have it like look nice, especially from the front for aesthetics, but other than that, it doesn't need to be exactly like what the instructions say. All right, so 1 by 8. So many ads. This one doesn't even make sense. At this point, I'm just putting the plates wherever they fit. I'm done trying to put the exact right plate in the right place, as long, basically it's like the cat meme, if I fits, I sits. The only thing we do need to maintain are the overhangs, like this one, for example. And there's going to be others. Actually, you might want to get rid of this piece and use it here. Yeah, to preserve symmetry and to allow for this corner plate to be used, because there's nowhere else where we can use this. We have not used any of the tiles, so the tiles are safe to use. Yeah, so these are the most important because this is what we're going to be attaching to. We have these pieces as well. We still have one more of these, which is very good. So it turns out that we need one for the flyer. Well, we have that option. We also have this piece that can be placed pretty much anywhere, but I believe the suggestion is to put it here to allow for a minifigure to be attached. We'll save this for later. Just need a bunch more tiles. Okay, so this is done. We're pretty much done with the core part of bag 11. And it is not surprising in this case. It's not surprising in this case to see all these pieces left as extra, because I intentionally built the wall flat like this and not with the explosion. That's going to require more pieces. So I'm perfectly fine with this. These are extra parts. Well, I might use them elsewhere in the build or just add them to my personal collection. I knocked over those cardboard boxes again. They're very loosely held. Anyways, we'll take a look at the flyer that our friend the Green Goblin is using. We'll build something that kind of looks like it. with the parts that are available. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I want to move on to the other stuff. And there's going to be something to attach these, maybe this. Yeah, that would kind of make sense. Building all this just from one angle, by the way. And from the rear, it's not entirely clear what this thing looks like, but there should be a triangle somewhere. Yeah, here. It doesn't look like this will fit here. Yeah, it's just a little bit too narrow. I'm not sure. Okay, so maybe instead this is at the rear. And we have this and a triangle like so. Yeah, that would make more sense actually. Need one more triangle. There it is. I'm guessing there's got to be like some exhaust system. This is part of it, I'm pretty sure. We also need like a 1x2 plate here. More ads, more ads. So the only available color that I have is this that will fit. So let's just put it here and it's gonna give like some glowing energy maybe. And then my guess is that we have some basically we have something to on which like to have like this exiting from like the rear center. So it would be like this, but like with some snot piece. And actually here we have a bunch of these, and they even fit the color scheme. I don't know if this is the official solution, but it kind of makes sense to me. This is not held very securely in place. It could fall over easily. Are these hollow? Yes, they are. So with a hollow stud, it's going to give us more friction. This is held a lot better. And we can also attach them here for additional evil energy. And then we can put this grill here. So this is my interpretation of the flyer just from one angle with Green Goblin already like standing on it. So like I can only see very limited things from that angle, and this is how I chose to interpret it. It's probably not like this in the instructions, but who cares? Looks cool. So, yeah, I love this flame piece once again. Yeah, just look at that. All right, so at this point, we'll just clean up and move on to the next. And this spider, I know it's gonna go somewhere. I know there's like a spider web and a spider. This gets attached, I believe, to this stud here. And then we have this big spider web gets clipped on to this. Yeah, just like that. And here's what that looks like from the top, the spider web and the spider itself. So I end up having a bunch of these extra ball joint pieces. It might come in handy in the future, who knows. Also, these bricks, they're always useful. One of these, this is very, very useful to have. Actually, I can swap maybe that white piece for the light bluish gray one. Should I do that? Or I might need it later. Yeah, I might need this later, so I might come back to that in the end. I also have this that I did not use. This is a nice piece to get. Alright, so now here's a look at all the pieces I ended up not using when building the set. It's pretty impressive for a set that, like, if you look at it from the outside, you would not realize that I did not follow the instructions, because what I did is very, very close to the original design. And here are the small extra parts. These are standard. Like if you build a set following the instructions, you will end up with these as extra. Also, I ended up not using this piece either. Bag 11. Bags 11 give us the Green Goblin minifigure as well as his flyer, which I improvised, and I love the flaming piece at the back. And we finish up the build of the third floor, including this facade. By default, this looks like it has been exploded, but I just built it in the standard way, copy and pasting what I did for the floor immediately below it. And we add a few of the interior details here, including the spider web and this spider. All right, so now we'll look at bag 12 and we'll see, okay, bag 12, we're gonna start a new floor. I can take all this and put it away. I wish it all to go away. Your wish is yours to keep. Yeah, so I'll just put everything away. And we'll keep the flyer here. It's a side build. It's useful. But yeah, like the other stuff we temporarily don't need. There are 2 bags 12. We'll come to them very soon. I'll be right back. Now this thing is starting to get tall, and I don't have a lot of space for it. So if you do decide to buy this set, make sure you have a place to put it. And make sure you get the full measurements of the set and also give yourself a little bit of buffer room just so it's not like scraping the ceiling or something. All right, we will get started very, very soon with bags 12. So in terms of interesting parts, the thing that jumps out to me at first is the minifigure parts. In this case, we have Spider-Gwen, the printing is very simple here, which makes me think that this might be based on the comics and not the TV show or films. And she gets this hood for her hoodie. There we go. That is our Gwen Spider or Spider-Gwen minifigure. And the rest of this, you could probably build this along with me by now because it's going to be pretty much exactly the same as before. The only thing that's different is the color of the tiles on the floor. Like this feels a lot wider than it is. I'm guessing they had to narrow down the tower on the upper floors just because of budget reasons, even back then. It is partly to align with the source material also, but yeah, like it feels like there's not a lot here. But once you build it, there's just enough space where it makes sense. So basically I'm guessing they set the dimensions first and then they try to make the interior make sense based on that. Because you really don't feel it when you have the whole thing built. It doesn't seem so narrow like it seems now. But just to explain what I mean a bit better, here's a taxi, and you would expect that a building be much, much larger than a taxi, but in reality, like the upper floors are just large enough to fit this taxi here. And I'll keep this here because after I build this, I'm not gonna disassemble it just to make this point. So upper floors have the footprint a little bit larger than the taxi, to be fair, but it could be like a parking spot for one taxi. Another way to make the same point is to say that like these cars and vehicles, they take up so much space in a city. That could be true whether it's a Lego city or an actual city. But with that being said, let's get to laying down the plates. At this point, I've memorized how to build the fire escape things. Yeah, after building it multiple times, I realized that it's easier to build everything on a flat surface like this, then transfer it here once we're all done. That's just the easiest way to do it. Like before, I would like put this and then just attach pieces and hold it onto here, but as I build more and more of these, I get better and better at that. This and this should be the same level. Oh, it's because this plate does not need to be here. Once again, we face the question, are we going to have enough of these? We'll find out soon enough. And in the meantime, let's do the easy stuff. Let's do the tiles. We're going to have dark red on this side, dark azure on this side. Again, notice how the different pieces are from different parts of the bag, just to make it super easy to get exactly the piece that you want. And of course the grills for the elevator as per usual. We know that we're going to need to use one of these pieces for elevator doors. And here, if I recall correctly, it's like plate, brick, something. Then those pieces. I believe it's something like this. Either this or one more plate. That I can never remember. Yeah, this is correct. Good. All right. Fix that later. Spoon. Up and down buttons. And one interesting thing is that LEGO used to offer an extra piece for each bag. Then they changed it to one extra piece for the whole set. In other words, now they're offering less extra pieces than they did before. Yeah, in the good old days, like every single bag that offered a small piece, they would give you one extra of it. Now it's just one for the entire set. So if you get like an extra piece in bag one, you're not going to get that same extra piece again ever in that set. So this goes here. Yeah, thank you for the live chat. I just saw it. I don't know if it came in now or just delayed. So thank you for the nice messages. That's all of Espanol I know. ¿Cómo estás? I'm guessing it means how are you? So I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. It's the day after my birthday, so I'm feeling a little bit older, a little bit wiser, but honestly, not much changes like the day before or the day after your birthday. And I'm at the point where I think age is just a number. Of course, don't do anything illegal, but you know what I mean. So I've built most of this without looking at the 3D view at all. You're getting this set for Christmas. Would you recommend? Yes, I would recommend this set if you have the money for it. Don't go into debt just to get Lego. However, this set is retiring soon. So if you're going to wait until Christmas Day to buy it, you may or may not be able to get it. This is not a LEGO exclusive set. It is available on Amazon and a bunch of other retailers, so there's less risk there. You might be able to find it at some Walmarts as well, depending on your area of the world. So you should be okay to get it in December, but it's not guaranteed. It could run out in... Oh, you already got it. Okay, never mind. Yeah, congrats. So yeah, this set, building it without the instructions, I'm on the 4th day of building it. I think it's going to take me 5 or 6 days in total because there's no way we'll finish this today. Yeah, so if you already got the set, then of course it's worth it to build it, unless you want to hold on to it for 10 years and then resell it. But maybe LEGO's going to re-release a Daily Bugle that's even better than this one in 10 years. So you never know. You never know what could happen in the future, but I like to build Lego sets. I have sold some sets in the past. There's nothing wrong with selling Lego sets, in my opinion. And even Bricklink, Lego Bricklink allows you to do that. But I think the people who just like stock up sets and they don't enjoy the builds, that's a little bit sad to me. The people who just like are only about investing and they never build anything. Like, oh, if you break open a set, then it destroys the retail value. The Daredevil figure is what I'm most excited for. Can I see it up close? Sure. So the Daredevil is this guy right here. And yeah, they did some nice printing on the torso for this guy. And they also gave him like the horns, which I find to be pretty funny. I was going to sell a set for 80, but it retails for 60, so it was way off. Well, if there's a set that is selling for 60, you're selling it for 80, then you can make 20 bucks, no? If you can find a willing buyer. Yeah, there's a DD Daredevil logo there. No alternative expression because it would be like, it would not be covered by this thing here. Unfortunately, no side printing for this guy. But still, a nice figure to get, and this is not a guy that we get too often. So just in order to finish up this build and figure out where this piece goes, I know it's going to go somewhere around here. I will spin the thing around and take a look at it from a bunch of different angles. A Lego fan would willingly buy that. Oh, you'd be surprised. Like, I've seen people buy a single minifigure, one Lego Star Wars minifigure, for more than $250. It all depends on if you have the right buyer, the right seller. Anything is possible. But of course, I always encourage people to spend their money responsibly. Yeah, so there comes a point where you have to spin this thing around in order to be able to see what's going on. So when building the elevator, so basically at this point on, what is the best Marvel mother in your opinion out of four? So X Mansion, Bugle, Avengers Tower, or the Sanctorum. So I have built the X Mansion. I completely agree with you. It's way too overpriced. In terms of the build itself, I like the build, but I wouldn't say that it's the best build ever. I definitely prefer the Daily Bugle compared to the X-Men Mansion, but that's just my personal opinion. I like the giant tower, the modern structure. The X Mansion like came out not too long after the Natural History Museum, which also took up like 1.5 base plates, but the museum gave you way more stuff and a lot lower price. So I just felt like the value could have been way better with the X Mansion. But the thing we have to remember is that the Daily Bugle was a set that was released and priced in 2021, and they probably decided the price like 1 or 2 years before the set was released. Whereas the sets that are more recent, they're priced after they knew about like the inflation and the tariffs and stuff. So I don't think we're gonna get a deal like the Daily Bugle, maybe ever. I could be wrong, and I hope that I'm wrong actually, because I buy Lego sets and I want to get them for as good a deal as possible. But that just doesn't seem the way that the market is going these days. So I did make a mistake here. I'll have to go in and fix that. And the thing is, everything is all attached, so I have to do that layer by layer. Or just do this. Basically, instead of this plate, people get the X Mansion only for the figures. Yeah, I mean, the figures are, I would say they're good, but not great. You can check out my review video if you want to look at the details of the figures, but at least for the one that I got when I bought the set from the Lego store last year, a bunch of the figures had very weak printing. So missing lots of side printing, missing dual molded legs, and for I like to think of myself as a reasonable person. So if it's a $10 Lego City set, I'm not gonna ask for these things, like the dual molded legs and all that fun stuff. But for an 18 plus set that costs hundreds and hundreds of dollars, literally hundreds of dollars, I think we have the right to ask for that at this point. The same thing with the $1,000 UCS Death Star. Like they couldn't give C3PO the dual molded leg, even though there's a $200 set that currently exists that has that leg. And they say, oh, for budget reasons, we can't do it. But you're selling the set for $1,000. You gotta figure out a way to make it work. Like people are not asking Lego to give them these things for free. We're paying very good money for like what we're expecting to get here. So I think another thing, this is controversial, but I think that forcing the X-Men mansion to be a modular building, even though like the theory is good, but the execution was not good. I think if they made it not a modular building, so not be constrained to the 32 by 48 base plate format, I think that might have been better given the budget constraints that they had for that set. Because next to the other modulars, it doesn't look that good. It looks tiny, comically so, even compared to like the much cheaper modular buildings. yeah, so I know they're never going to be able to make everyone happy, but they should at least try to focus on their core fan base. And like the adults are the ones that are spending a lot of money here. So I would hope that like they take good care of us. There have been some good deals this year, to be fair. Like some of the sets that I got, like I was not complaining about them being egregiously overpriced, so it can happen, but it's happening less and less these days compared to a few years ago when like Ninjago used to be like super cheap. Like up until fairly recently, you can get a pretty decent Ninjago set for like 5 cents price per piece. Working on a stop motion while I chat with you. Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. And yeah, I see that you have some pretty interesting stuff on your channel. Yeah, I'll give you a subscription, and I hope that eventually you'll reach 1,000 and beyond subscribers, maybe even 1 million one day. It's possible. So yeah, I fixed the couple mistakes that I made here. So now I think we're pretty much good for this bag. We just have a few more things to do here, but I think this is the general idea. What is the coolest figure in this set, you think? That's a good question. Like purely from an optics perspective, I like Carnage. Like they went all in for this guy. They gave him like all these appendages and so on. It just makes him a lot more interesting than some random figure. And they also printed the legs, which they're not doing that for most of the figures in this set. I like the torso for this figure right here. It's pretty useful. Can be used anywhere in a Lego city. And the Sandman is also a standout. Like it's the first time I built a figure that looks like this. Like instead of the legs, you have all this instead. That's definitely very interesting. And then, yeah, the Mysterio. I guess I like the fishbowl helmet. I like the cape as well. So those would be the standouts for me. Goblin as well. I like the dual molded helmet with the ears. He just looks so evil and in a goofy way. So yeah, I'm old enough to remember the animated series from the 1990s. I used to watch that as a kid, and back then, Green Goblin was a big deal. Oops. I like the Sandman. He needs better hair and a different faceplate. Yeah, so thankfully, there's no shortage of head pieces and hair pieces that you could use. Like that's a fairly simple modification to do. And the Spider-Man No Way Home set is retiring soon as well. I think I don't think I got that one yet. Yeah, so like I think a lot of people are gonna miss out on the No Way Home sets, like if they did not get them in time, because those sets are iconic, especially like the main one. I should have put the ladder in first. I forgot to do that. I have to rip out some pieces to see what I'm doing. Okay, there we go. Of course, with the upper one, we don't really have that problem. You just plug that in. Lizards is dope, but I really want a new Scorpion. Yeah, we're starting to hear about what minifigures we're gonna get in the 2026 sets. I haven't heard anything yet about that, but at some point in the near future, we should hear about all the LEGO minifigures for the first half of 2026, basically. There's places online where you can find that information if you're really impatient. So yeah, now I'm going to pause the music and basically give a very brief description of bag 12 for the benefit of my future self when I edit the video. Bags 12 give us the Spider-Gwen minifigure, as well as the fourth and final floor, the foundation of it, as well as this corner here with the fire escapes. Now this way, when I do a speed build, I can very easily add that without having to re-record another voiceover. We have a bunch of these pieces, and I'm guessing that they're going to be used by the minifigures, and there's going to be like some spiderweb elements and so on. And Bee Bandits was here. Yeah, so like I'll give you a shout out in the live stream, which will be like available. I usually keep my live streams up unless there's something that forces me to take them down, like a copyright issue. But yeah, like there will always be a record that you are here. All right, so I'm gonna look at bag 13 and see, do I have the time to work on it? It's looking like more of the same, like we're gonna basically build the sides all around. And 14, we build the front facade here. 15 and 16 are the roof. Yeah, I've been streaming for 3 hours and I do have other things to do, and I do work tomorrow. I'm old enough to have to go to work, so I think we'll just call it a night right now. I will give people like 30 seconds for their final comments in the chat if they want. Otherwise, I wish you all have a nice day or have a nice evening, good night, depending on where you are in the world. Thank you everyone for tuning in to Versatile Fun Designs, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye for now.